Hello again. So as I said, we're going back to the top. And I hope you can see this, but if you can't, well, sorry about that. I'll do what I can to make sure you can see what I'm doing. But as I said, quoting from Psalm 45, my heart is inditing a good thing, good matter. I speak of the things which I have touching. I have made touching the king, my tongue is the pen of a ready writer. And here we are at the top. As I was saying, 100,000. Now, how much is that again? Let me just go like this. So 100,000 gives us 35.184 trillion. Then we have 200,000, 70.369 trillion. Some of you are probably at the point of just saying, Daniel, don't you realize we're exhausted by now? Oh, I'm exhausted, and this is my baby. Thanks for bearing with me again. I have a goal in mind, though, okay? If you can stick with me, I think you'll be richly rewarded. So we have our 400,000 in base 32. In decimal, that's 140.737 trillion. Then we have 800,000. 281.475 trillion. Little by little, we are slowly but surely getting to where I want to eventually be, and I want to be there for a reason. So, can you see this? Hope you can. So, G 100,000. That's a G 0000, and then a group of 5 zeros, or 00000. That's equal to decimal 562 trillion 900 and decimal 562.950 trillion. And then we have $1 million. Kind of sounds like a million, but it's 1 million. So a little explanation here. Did you know that there are actually two systems for doing 1,000, million, billion, etc.? And as far as I know, originally it really was that a million was 1,000,000, but then a billion was actually, if I'm remembering correctly, a million million, and then a trillion was a million billion, a quadrillion was a million trillion, etc. And then here in North America, we somehow, would you be offended if I said bastardized it to the point where a million was 1,000,000, and then a billion was 1,000 million, and a trillion was 1,000 billion, etc. And I'm pretty sure over in England they might have had to hold their nose, and maybe even now there are some people who stick to the original. But I think there must be others who say, well, if you can't beat them, join them over there in North America. They've, again, sort of bastardized it, and we'll just work with it. Well, anyway, if that's the case, I decided to take the old system back and say that a million was going to be 1,000,000. And so you may not have even needed to know that. If not, thanks for bearing with me. I'm just going to keep going here because finally I'm into the decimal quadrillions, which is where I want to be. So we have our 1 million, or 1,000,000, which is 1 million. So a 1 followed by a group of 5 zeros, followed by another group of 5 zeros, and that gives us 1.126 quadrillion. And let me just double check my goal here. What's the goal again? Just to make sure. 0, so 8.649, good. So now we're going to move it down to 2 million, or 2 followed by 10 duotrigesimals zeros. 2.252 quadrillion in decimal. And then we have our 4 million, also equivalent to 4 dozen, but really by the time you get to that point I'm calling it million. So 4.504 quadrillion. And then we finally get to 8 million, which puts us over the top of the goal I had in mind. So that's 9.007 quadrillion, and my goal was, as I said before, 93 million squared, which is 8.649 quadrillion. I certainly pray that you have an understanding of that number you never had before. And again, the inverse square law of light dictates that if you want to know how much of a light source you're going to see, you don't just take the distance. You take the distance and you square it. Friends, we just did that tonight. We just squared 93 million, but there's one more step. We squared it, now we invert it. We say 1 divided by 8.649 quadrillion. Friends, we flatlined at 0 for all intents and purposes a long time ago. But wait. The spherical theories have the spherical theorists think they have an answer for this. You know what their answer is? So to speak, I've said this in my video entitled Sun Worship Game Over Pac-Man Style, which I welcome you to check out after this. This is really putting the exclamation mark on that video. But the spherical theorists, they get their bicycle pump out and they decide, well, we'll just take that supposed sun and pump it up so that it's 2 million times the size of the Earth. Some of you won't necessarily buy that. Do the math. I invite you to. If you take the Earth supposedly being 8,000 miles in diameter and then the sun being supposedly 109 Earth diameters, and you calculate the volume of a sphere that's 109 times the diameter of a different sphere, that makes it 2 million times bigger. I welcome you to check that out. And if you tell me I'm wrong on that, I'll definitely redo that calculation, because I don't think I'm wrong on that one. But, so yeah, they pump it up to be 2 million times the size of the Earth. And you know what they say the luminosity of the sun is? We've got a whole lot more doubling to go on this one, and let's speed things up for you. Ready? Let me get back to my spreadsheet. All right. So we're at 8 million. Million. Oh, by the way, I know how to do this on here, right? So that would be 8 million. That would be million. Then we would have 10 million, 20 million, 40 million, 80 million, million, 100 million, 200 million, 400 million, 800 million, 100 million, 10 million, 20 million, 40 million, 800 million, 100 million, 100 million, 200 million, 400 million, 800 million, 100 million. So that's 1,000 million, 2,000 million, 4,000 million, 8,000 million, 10,000 million, 10,000 million, 20,000 million, 40,000 million, 80,000 million, 80,000 million,